in April of 2019. There was a late April Sunday where my family was at a school carnival. Mason and I were riding the swings that went around, and he and his little sister did an inflatable horse ride, and he won, of course, but he waited for his little sister and encouraged her to come on. And it was a wonderful day. And little did I know that was the last normal day of my life. Within 48 hours, we were at the ER at Children's Hospital Los Angeles because Mason had swelling in his face and was short of breath. We thought he was having a bad allergy attack of some sort, and it turned out to be cancer. He went through a regimen of harsh chemotherapies for the next 8 months that would cause him to not only lose his hair, but to lose his mobility. He turned 10 years old, still with a smile on his face, but it was heartbreaking because his childhood had drastically changed. At the top of 2020, he was out of the 8 months of harsh chemo. We had him in physical therapy to learn to walk again, and his hair started growing back, and we were going to be on a 3-year maintenance program of chemotherapy to rid the cancer from his body. And sadly, 5 months later, right at the beginning of a little global pandemic you might have heard about, Mason ended up back in the ER, and we learned he had relapsed. We also learned he had a 25% chance of survival at that point with that relapse. The medicines weren't working. I thought the year before had been hell, but we entered a hell that was really beyond anything I know how to express. And we kept plugging away. We would knock the cancer down a little bit and it would come roaring back. And then the next clinical trial that we were told about was happening in Houston, Texas, at Texas Children's Hospital through Baylor College of Medicine. It meant we had to go to Houston. So my family of 4, we were like, yes, we'll pack up and go. And meanwhile, I learned that our Medicaid plan would not cover it out of state. Of course, my son was dying, so I would have robbed a bank, I would have robbed a bank to save him. And, the hard part was having to explain to Mason why all of these meetings had to happen while he was suffering so much. He just wanted to know why he couldn't get the medicine. And anyway, our family and friends came through for us. They started a GoFundMe, and they paid for us to go. Charities like Leukemia and Lymphoma Society helped pay our gas bills. Friends paid for an Airbnb there. So we ended up in the hospital most of the month we were there. I can't imagine what that hospital bill would have come to. We were completely uncovered. Even my friends and family gathering with a GoFundMe couldn't have covered that. And it was too little too late again, and it didn't work. So we had to bring him home. We brought him back home on an Angel flight. And, at the end, he had turned 11 by then. We had been battling for almost 2 years, and he knew what was happening. He knew he was dying. And I laid in bed with him and had the most intense conversations of my life. I talked with him about the meaning of life and what I thought death was and why we couldn't, cure him. And while they were the hardest conversations I've ever had and hope to ever have, they were also the most beautiful conversations I've ever had. And he wanted me, and I promised him, he wanted me to fight to help other kids like him. So I promised him while he was dying that that's what I would spend the rest of my life doing.